Bruce, business to business, what are the issues?
This is absurd.
We have to reach resolution on these 5 or 6 points.
How many times can we pay you before you're satisfied here?
How do you take all of this theoretical information available and make it apply to actual high-stakes situations where you can significantly impact your company and your career? In other words, how do you learn to negotiate at this highest level? The most tried and true method is by observing experts in action. The mock negotiation you're about to see brings you 4 executives who in the real world annually negotiate corporate real estate deals worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
Well, we had a thrilling time with rent earlier today. I think we have to come back to it, unless you want to just omit it from the lease in its entirety. Your rent provision here is very, very disturbing. I have never, ever in my life seen a lease that has pass-through on operating expenses on a net basis, plus operating expenses, and on top of that, asking for a CPI kicker on those, plus the base rent. How many times can we pay you before you're satisfied here? 3, 4, 5 times? We can't accept this. As a matter of our policy as a corporation, my bank does not accept CPI increases. So we have some real deal-breaking potential here if that's the way we want to take it.
That's our deal, though. We thought that's what the deal was. Are you saying that that's just not something you're willing to sign?
Look, we just screwed up. We just didn't see that in there.
I think we've got some issues here that we maybe can't resolve face-to-face.
I'm not sure we can resolve them, period. That's disturbing, but I'm not sure we can resolve this issue, period, particularly with the remaining issues of operating expenses hanging out there.
Well, the two are definitely tied together, but I'll tell you this. There is no basis for us to discuss with you operating expenses unless, as long as there's a CPI provision in the lease. Bruce has made it very clear. In words of one syllable, we will not sign.
If I didn't have weak knees, I would have walked this morning when we were talking about it. This is really upsetting.
I'm sorry to hear that, Bruce, because it's equally, if not more, upsetting for us to see that we've got a document that's been on the table for over 90 days, that in the final round of negotiations, we get nailed with an issue of CPI.
It's not a new issue.
It is a new issue,
It's not a
Philip.
new issue. You chose to ignore it. You chose to ignore it. Now,
Listen, what was buried in a letter, there probably are 1 or 2 other issues that were in that letter that have also not been discussed, yet they're not issues, and we certainly haven't heard them talked about today.
This is the core of this transaction.
This is unreasonable. This is unconscionable. Do you have that word in Atlanta, unconscionable?
So again, we have an example here of an escalation in tension, almost to the point of walking away from the deal, resulting in both sides respecting the power of the other side. Mutual recognition and respect for power provides a framework for working toward a solution that both the tenant and the landlord can benefit from.
I'm a street kid from Brooklyn. We call that a double dip.
Well, gosh, I think we're going backward.
You pay the rent, we're going to provide the service.
If that's the case, I'm going to hire some 6'6" clerks and sit them in there with submachine guns.
Quite honestly, that's what the market is, and that's what we thought what the deal was.
There's degrees of bad. There's material bad, there's non-material bad. To you, it's all bad.
Without question, I remain concerned about the deception that kicked this process off.
Once again, I don't want to subsidize other
Okay,
developments.
but I agree with you, but tell me where I have some wiggle room.
It's just not right.
And it would be, as you call it, a double dip, both at Brooklyn and Atlanta.
It's going to be an interesting animal we've negotiated there. I'm looking to see it in print.